Fair or unfair with the Miami Heat? All that coming up in a couple of seconds. Time for more fraud talk. So we said that it's unfair to call the Knicks frauds. And I agree with that. Mm-hmm. But now we have to ask this question. There's another team that just walked into the first round of the Eastern Conference and just got swept. They're the first ones eliminated out of the playoffs, which is the Miami Heat. They lost 4-0, and not a single game was close. Mm-hmm. It was literally whipping after whipping after whipping by the Milwaukee Bucks against them. And so it comes as a surprise to a lot of us because Miami beat Milwaukee in the second round last year and made it to the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. The Miami Heat are the third team to make it to the NBA Finals, and in the following season get swept in the first round. Jimmy, do you know the other two teams?
All right, give me some guesses here. Let's see. Go to the finals, get swept in the first round the next season.
Yep.
Dallas Mavericks. Is that one of them?
2012. Yes. You know who swept them, right?
Was it the Warriors or was it the Grizzlies?
The Thunder.
It was the Thunder?
That was the year the Thunder went to the finals.
I totally forgot about
2012.
That.
Remember, they went through and started whooping everybody's tail. The young Thunder.
Okay.
All right, who's the other team?
Dang, now I got to think of all the past. I mean, it's hard enough just remembering the champions from that season. Okay, let's see. Since the year 2000, you said?
It's been since the year 2000.
So none of the three Lakers teams had that happen to them. At least I don't believe so. The Pistons teams, I don't believe that happened to them, nor the Spurs. That did not happen to the Golden State Warriors dynasty. Cleveland Cavaliers.
Nope.
Dang it. Went to the finals.
Cleveland never made it to the playoffs without LeBron. Remember that.
Boston Celtics.
Nope.
All right, let me take one more guess.
Give you one more guess. And you're going to laugh. If you don't guess it, you're going to laugh.
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Nope.
All right, who was it?
Miami Heat. The year they won the championship, the next year they were swept.
The D-Wade team that won that championship in 06? Okay, got it.
06, 07 playoffs, they were swept in the first round.
All right. Who else? Is that it?
That's it. It's just those three.
So Dallas,
Miami Heat twice and the Dallas Mavericks. Basically, both teams with American Airlines arenas.
Got to stay out of there, man.
Right. It's what it is. So so that was the thing about them. So we have to ask this question. Is it fair or unfair to say that the Miami Heat were bubble frauds?
I'm going to go with fair. It is fair to call them frauds. It's not fair to include Jimmy Butler in that because he was really one of the only good things about the Heat this series as we expected him to be. Well, not the only good thing, but we knew he was going to show up. Amongst the absent were Bam Adebayo. That surprised me a lot. Duncan Robinson didn't seem to be there. He seemed to have already checked out and headed back to the crib by game 2. Tyler Hero, who spent a lot of the regular season injured and seemed to be more interested in living the life of an NBA star as opposed to really grinding, even though a few of his numbers were a little bit better. But he should have taken another step further. So now we see that he is not ever going to be Klay Thompson. He was absent. Andre Iguodala was old. Now, what really hurt them is Victor Oladipo not being there, but he seems to be in the same class. Well, not in the same class as far as talent and productivity necessarily, but he's a lot like Anthony Davis in the sense that ever since that knee injury, right after he was just emerging as an all-star, he's just been injured off and on, off and on, off and on. He wasn't there. So in that sense, yes, they were fraud. There was some protection within the AAU tournament field of the bubble that was not going to save them now, nor could they sneak up on anybody exactly the way that they did in the bubble. So yes, they were frauds. I do believe in Pat Riley and his ability to, to orchestrate something that we don't necessarily see coming and get this team back to a team that can go beyond this first round of the playoffs. I do want to see what Victor Oladipo looks like with this team. I think he might be a free agent after this season. I hope he doesn't plan on breaking the bank because with his injury history, he honestly doesn't deserve to. But you're worth whatever somebody's willing to pay you. So maybe. But they were frauds, unfortunately.
So I am the opposite. I think it's unfair to call them frauds. Okay. They made the NBA Finals
last year.
Yes, they made the NBA Finals last year.
Yeah.
That's not fraud. That's not being a fraud in the bubble at all. That was a hard situation for everybody.
True.
Everybody went into the situation the exact same way, and they were able to walk out of there and win it.
Well, no one was saying that was a fraud situation. They deserved everything they got with who they went through. But
this year,
season,
they're calling them bubble frauds. They're talking about them being frauds from last year because they played against the exact same team that they beat last season. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, they didn't play the same team because this year they have Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker. Right. So they actually add additional components, and I promise you, Drew Holiday is not Eric Bledsoe. As much as I like Eric Bledsoe, Drew Holiday is better than Eric Bledsoe. And he showed it. He showed it in every way, shape, or form on the court. They're not frauds. They're not frauds for it. They were a 6th seed this year. There's a reason why they were a 6th seed. They couldn't stay healthy, like you said. But at the same time, this heat culture thing, stupidest thing that Pat Riley did was think that he needed to keep Tyler Hero instead of going for James Harden.
Because he thought he was going to have a Klay Thompson who was 20 years old.
If Houston Rockets asked you for Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson for James Harden, you make that trade 100 out of 100 times.
Yes.
Period. Why? Because James is already proven to get his own bucket. Neither Duncan Robinson nor Tyler Hero has ever shown us a moment where they can get their own bucket. They've shown that they can shoot lights out. They've never shown they can get their own bucket. This is the same thing I say about Klay Thompson. And like you said, he thinks he had a 20-year-old Klay Thompson. He should have realized the one thing that Klay Thompson cannot do very well: get his own shot. Klay is a catch and shoot guy, or he'll get a couple dribbles in, move around, come off a screen, and put the bucket up. You've never really seen Klay create shots. He's not his own creator. No. That's never been his game. His game is grabbing that rock and putting it in the air. Mm-hmm. You should have saw that about Tyler Hero. And the problem with that is that they have no one else that can create their own shot outside of Jimmy Butler. So, with that being said, that to me is the issue that the Miami Heat.
But doesn't that sound fraudulent to you as far as moving forward, that we only have one guy who can create his own shot? And if something happens to him, we're screwed because Bam really can't. I mean, Bam, it's not that he can't create his own shot. He can't do it maybe to the level of Jimmy Butler or the level of consistency of Jimmy Butler. And you've already talked about.
He's on a wing. That's the thing.
And the sharpshooters, just by nature, aren't shot creators. So, in that sense, taking that with you into the Eastern Conference against a better Milwaukee Bucks team that they had to have known was better, as well as the Philadelphia 76ers team that with the new coach has figured some things out. And, the Brooklyn Nets. In their big three, taking that into a playoffs in that conference against them, doesn't that look fraudulent?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because they came in as a 6th seed and they looked really bad all season. So what happens is after a while, teams start to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses and they start taking advantage of that stuff. Right. And at the same time, you know how many points Giannis averaged in that series? I want you to give me your best guess before we
I'm going to go
on something else.
22.
Very close. He averaged 23.5 points per game in that series.
Right.
That is very low.
But that's what you want.
That is exactly what you want out of Giannis. Because Giannis in the playoffs last year was averaging 26 throughout all of it. You don't want the ball in Giannis' hands like that. And it's no shade to Giannis. He's just not a closer. That's not his game.
Right.
But having Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday with the confidence to do that and then be able to include Giannis when needed, Bucks are dangerous. Mm-hmm. They are very, very
I underestimated them. You are correct. They are dangerous.
They're dangerous.